bizarre, tragic suicide attempt in Canada at the University of Guelph. This is a...
I love these pictures. In the booth, we're just playing around, having fun, and she loved like the Botticelli and Venus, and she was such an artist. And so this is in August before she died. She died in October.
Jealousy during Yale threesome leads to stabbing, then suicide.
So this is Roswell Friend, who was a student at Temple University, committed suicide in 2011. A student named Alyssa Funke committed suicide last month after cyberbullying that she received after appearing in a pornographic film. Obviously, suicide is a big issue on college campuses. It's not usually talked about, but the incidence of suicide at college is actually higher than the surrounding areas, similar to sexual assault. Very sad.
Last 3 years, we've been really good friends. We've been really close, and yeah, we used to hang out together. We used to party, get drunk. Everything was perfect, and we were also in the same classes, and we were in the we had a friends of 6 people, and it was really exciting to have Wu as our friend in our group because he's the kind of person who always smiles and who always cheers up everyone. We never saw him sad or stressed about anything. One day, we were in a party, and he walked up to me and he said, "My life's messed up," and I didn't understand because I thought he was drunk and that's just what he's being. But then he started crying, and I was like, "My life's really messed up. I don't know what to do. I don't want to live anymore," and I just didn't know what to do. I told our group, and they're like, he's kind of drunk. When he's fine, when he's sober, he'll probably be all right. So just drop him home." So we didn't do anything about it. We just talked to him and dropped him home. And after that night, he didn't show up to school for a week, and we got really worried about him. What we knew was that he was stressed about something. He was really depressed. We didn't know if it was his family, or if it was school, or it was work, or something else that was bothering him, but he was really sad about it. So yeah, after a week, we didn't see him. Then after a week, he came to school, and he was all happy, and he was smiling. He was all cheerful, and we were like really surprised to see him. And we just asked him like, "What's wrong? Where have you been? Like, you disappeared just like that. Try to contact you and try to call you, you didn't answer." And then he said nothing, it was just a bad week. I was just too much worried about some stuff, but it's all good, like I'm good. So how's it going? And everything was back to normal. We're just happy to see him. One day when TJ and we were studying, TJ told us, actually he witnessed everything that happened to him. TJ and him were studying, and he told us that Wu was like all smiling and happy all day, and suddenly when they're like studying or something, suddenly got into him, and he got really sad about something. And then he walked up, he smiled at him when he asked like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Nowhere, I'll be right back." And he smiled at him, and he just left. And after a few minutes, TJ could hear people screaming and shouting, and ambulance came and police came, and then he walked outside to see what happened, and he found Wu's body on the ground.
you know how to do the hashing format?
No. It's kind of a suspense, like what happened to Wu, and he's just gone, and yeah, it's just sad. My condolences to his family. We
In the mental health setting at the hospital here in town, are you finding there's a lot of cases of university students with mental health issues?
Yeah, there's definitely more students accessing mental health services at the hospital, from like outpatient psychiatry to actually having to be admitted due to overwhelming stress or depression or suicidal thoughts. So yeah, there's definitely a high prevalence of university students.
Would you say that there is more now than there used to be in, say, the past 10 years or 20 years even?
I think the stigma around mental illness is lessening, I would hope, and so more people are able to identify when they see signs of depression or mental illness and are more open to access mental health services. So maybe not that there's more depression, but that it's more recognized.
More in the public eye.
Yeah.
If you're concerned about yourself or your peers, what are some signs to be aware of?
So for depression, I would say there's a lot of symptoms, like there's a lack of motivation, there'd be sadness, obviously, poor sleep, poor appetite, isolation, withdrawal, even like irritability. Those are all pretty common signs, and stress often brings that up, but we don't realize that that could also be the early signs of depression. And so I think those are some early signs, and then of course if it's more serious, then total withdrawal or disengagement from activities that they're usually someone's interested in. So if you like sports and you stop playing sports, or you're really into healthy eating and you've just kind of let that go, I think those are all signs. And yeah, if you start noticing those signs, I think it's important to try to access some mental health services either in campus or in the community, because they could be signs of depression, but they can also be signs of other mental illnesses. University students are at the prime age, like risk-wise, for major mental illness like schizophrenia and bipolar, and so those are signs also of not only depression, but those are like prodromal schizophrenia signs as well. So it's important to recognize and be aware of what services are out there to help those needs.
Services available for those that feel like they need to reach out.
So I know on campus there's like the TRU Counseling and Wellness Center, and so that's always the first step that's available right here and it's accessible. But sometimes the stigma of accessing services on a campus where peers and others may be aware, there are community services, like there's Kamloops Mental Health and Substance Use. They have counseling groups, one-on-one counseling. There's individuals that have substance use and mental health issues. They have programs for them. There's the Canadian Mental Health Association. There's a lot of nonprofit agencies in town that assist with mental illness, and of course if it's severe, the Royal Inland Hospital has mental health services. So there are a lot in town and on campus and throughout the community. So.
University students experience such a high rate of depression.
I think it's a mix of things. Like university is a time of major transition for a lot of students. So you're in high school and you're supported by your family, and now you're more independent, and that's a cause of great stress. Workload of university, and often students work at the same time, trying to manage their finances. A lot of people don't realize how big of a factor stress has on depression, and so we can all have the genetic predisposition of depression or any mental illness, but stress is one of the key factors that could bring out symptoms of mental illness. So I think that's a huge piece for university students, that they're just in this new environment with a lot of stress and sometimes no support. So that would be my opinion on what I see at the hospital especially. We see a lot of university students coming into hospital at times of exams, finals. It's a really common time. So yeah, that's why I believe anyways. So.
And options available for those that feel like they're suffering from depression?
So a typical treatment is usually therapy or counseling. CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, is a really common approach for depression, and that's trying to shift negative thoughts or thinking to more positive ones. DBT is dialectical behavioral therapy, more so for maybe people that are having suicidal thoughts or are engaging in like self-injurious behaviors like cutting or other risky behaviors. Sometimes if therapy doesn't work, medication is an option. So usually like an SSRI medication that helps with serotonin and dopamine levels in your brain. But it's usually like the combination of two that we see at the hospital as a benefit. Obviously medication is never the first choice. And then, healthy lifestyle, exercise, healthy diet, having a positive support group, those are just some natural treatment options that we all should have in our lives that hopefully make our mood better.
The opposite of depression is not happiness, but vitality, and it was vitality that seemed to seep away from me in that moment. It led me to an eye opening journey when I kept interviewing others about their depression. To my surprise, the more I talked, the more people wanted to tell me about their own stories. What I found out is like there are two kind of people. So there are one kind of people who think by shutting out depression, by shutting out the depression, it kind of like they think that by shutting out the depression, it strengthens it, and but when you hide it, it keeps growing inside. And the other people who do better are the ones who are able to tolerate the fact that they have this condition, and those who can tolerate the depression are the ones who achieve resilience, and they are grateful to what they have experienced. Now, I have learned in my own depression how big an emotion can be and how it can be more real than facts. And I found that experience has allowed me to experience positive emotion and in more intense and more in more focused way. So my story is very simple, just in 4 words. It's just like I suffer from depression. People living People are living with two totally different lives, where one person was always afraid of the other. People are afraid of what they would see them for and what they really was, or who they really was. Some people being a popular kid in high school, who everyone thought that the person was, but beneath everyone's smile, there there's a struggle. There's a light and there's darkness in there beneath their big personality. Just, beneath a big personality, a bigger pain is hidden in them. So depression isn't like a chicken pox where it gets treated like once you beat it once and it's gone forever. It is something that you live with it. It's something you live in. It's just like a roommate that you cannot kick it. It is the voice you can't ignore. It's the feeling that's there inside you. It can't seem to it can't seem to escape. The scariest part is that after a while you become numb to it, and it becomes normal for you. While most of them, the fear is the suffering inside of you. It's a shame, it's embarrassment, it's disapproving look in a friend's face. It's the whispers in the hallway saying that you're weak. It's the comment that says that you're crazy. That's what keeps you from getting help. That what makes you hold it and hide it inside. And even though you're keeping it inside you every day, you think just by laying down on the bed every day, it's going to make your life like by laying down every day in the bed, it's going to make your life empty. No matter how much you will try to fill it in you, it still keeps coming back. So we live in a world where if you break your arm, like many of your friends, they come to sign your cast. But if you tell people you're depressed, they run the other way. And that's ironic to me because depression is one of the best documented problem we have in the world, and yet it's one of the least discussed. We just push it aside and put it in a corner and pretend it's not there and hope it'll fix one day. So the first step solving any problem is recognizing that there is one, but we haven't done that. So we can't really expect to find an answer when we are still afraid of the question. I don't know what the solution is. I wish I could, but it has to start, and I think that it has to start here. It has to start with me, it has to start with you, it has to start with people who are suffering, the ones who are hidden in the shadows. We need to speak up and shatter the silence. We need to be the ones who are brave for what we believe in. That's exactly what I think we need to do. So if we, how much ever we speak about depression, that much ever we can come out of it. And we need to be focused and positive in life. There is no negativity. You think that by not speaking about it's you're going to fail about it, what people think about it. So it's nothing like that. It's how you face your fears. That is the one which strengthens you. Thank you.